Welcome back to the channel, and today I want to try to build a helicopter the right way for once. And what I mean is I want to build a helicopter that actually uses a tail propeller the way it is supposed to be used, because every single helicopter I've built in Trailmakers so far uses dual rotors like this in order to counter the torque. Now, a normal helicopter has a tail rotor that does that job. It's just a lot simpler in Trailmakers to not have to try to regulate torque with a tail rotor. But we now have this new tail propeller part, which is pretty much like it was designed to be a tail propeller. Although, to be fair, we did have this other propeller that actually, no, this was not designed for that. This was more designed as like a front propeller, I believe. This one is designed to be contained inside of a tail. So I want to actually try to reduce a helicopter to its normal functionality like this, because you can see what happens if I do this is I spin uncontrollably. Actually, this is really bad. Watching this, I kind of am very discouraged about how this episode is going to go. This might be a much harder challenge than I was anticipating. So obviously the big challenge is there's a lot of challenges with this. There's going to be some really big challenges. But the challenge is going to be to get the tail propeller to counter the torque but not over counter the torque. I don't know if that's possible, but I have ideas. If my idea doesn't work, this idea is not gonna work. So let me just, since I have a helicopter pretty much built here, and the thing isn't really about the design of the helicopter, it's more about the design of the tail. Let's see. Yeah, that's not too bad as far as the shape, the size goes, the scale goes. I think this can fit. However, I really need to save a new version of this that doesn't use servos as gyros, because this was built before the gyros. So let me go ahead and add some gyros in here. I would say let's test these things out, but I deleted my other propeller. Okay, so now we've got to put the tail propeller in this thing so that we counter this issue, which is a big issue. That actually looks pretty good. I think I like this. That's not too bad. I think that actually looks pretty cool. Okay, so now okay, this is what I'm really worried about right here. This is a moment of truth. I'm gonna put the controls at 1 to go left, 2 to go right. The question is, does this thing have the power to overcome the torque? Just raw power versus raw torque. We're not gonna dial in like the fine tuning. We're just gonna see, can it overcome the torque? Okay, we got a problem. It's not strong enough. How are we supposed to overcome the torque if this doesn't have enough power? Because look, this is the amount of power it outputs. But then when I add the torque, that's the amount of torque we get. The math is not equaling out. We've got an option. Let's lower the speed of this down to like 1. Let's just see. Does that give us less torque that we can then... Okay, it does give us less torque. Let's find... Like, let's go to 5 speed. Okay, there's that. Now, the problem with that is it's like... I don't know, it's not enough. It's not enough to overcome and like overcorrect, because we kind of want overcorrection. Okay, here we go. But now the question is this enough lift? We can find out right now. Oh, it's not really enough lift. We might need to double this up. It's bulky. It's blocky. Sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. That is like, this is really heavy too. I'm back heavy now. Look at my center of mass. I need to add more weight, which is gonna mean less lift. Everything about this is difficulty. All right, let's bring ourselves up in speed. Okay, this is definitely powerful enough now, but can we generate enough lift? We cannot. We need to at least go fast enough to generate enough lift, but the problem is I had to add so much more weight. Is max speed even enough to get lift? All right, let me try to counter it. We're slowing down, but we're actually, it feels like we're too heavy. This is actually a way bigger challenge than I thought, because I haven't even started to try to program this thing to dial into the torque. I haven't even reached that stage, and I thought that was gonna be the whole stage. I thought that was the only stage we had. But we have a lift versus weight stage and power matching stage. Like, just, I don't even know. I don't know how to do this. You know what these are more realistically for in the Trailmakers context is you actually do use a double rotor, but then this is your yaw. I want to do a single rotor propeller. I would love to just do a single rotor propeller for once. You don't really see that in Trailmakers much because of the stuff I'm dealing with right now is why you don't see it. All right, this is a helicopter engine. It's like we're using the right part, but we just got some problems, okay? All right, what are my flap wings at? Maybe I can generate more lift. Angle 25, let's go to 30. That should give us more lift, right? It looks like, I don't know. All right, I am just going to move the whole top section back a little bit. That didn't affect things as much as I was hoping. It really does look good right there. I just wanted to move the lift back because the lift is too far front and the weight is too far back. The tail propeller is very heavy. This makes it difficult for helicopters in particular. I feel the tail should be not quite as heavy as this thing here, but it just happens to be the same exact weight. Let's go to 35 degree angle on our collective pitch here, and let's change the speed back down to like 5, and let's just see where we're at right now. I took the weight out. Okay, we have liftoff, and we have counter spin. Let's work with what we just did. Let's work with this. We're light enough. We may not be balanced, but we're light enough to get in the air, and we have enough tail power to counter the torque. Now we dial in automatic torque countering. This is the main point of the main challenge of this episode. So here is the way that I am going to try to do it. I think there might be a limitation with the propellers. Actually, let me see. We're gonna test it right now. If I ramp up the propeller in one direction and I switch directions, that's a problem. It has to spin down. So this has to ramp up speed to its power, its desired power output. But if we need to reverse power, which theoretically we shouldn't really have to reverse power, it should pretty much be always going in the same direction. And it should just like release and hold on, let me test things out a little bit. Okay, so this is good. If I let go and apply it again, it seems to keep its power level rather than starting over. It goes up and down rather than going up and then immediately back down to 0. So that is good. I think this is still possible. The issue would be if it had to switch from forward and reverse, like entirely, but I don't think it has to do that. So the torque goes left. So that means I want a speed sensor facing left. So now when this detects any amount of left, stuff, it's going to send an output to this. We want this to be flipped so that positive is in the counter torque direction. So let's just see what this feels like now. So speed sensor is hooked up to that. I have to make it more complicated because I need it to be able to turn itself off. But now I'm just going to activate the main propeller and go hands-free and see what happens. Okay, now let's see if we can get some lift off. Oh, why is it not working? It's not working very well. Oh, whoa. Whoa, it's not working very well. Oh, this is complicated. It's trying to work. So, this is interesting. There's also a counter roll. Like, I keep rolling to the left, and I don't want to roll to the left. This is way more complex than I anticipated. Like a lot more complex than I anticipated. There's a lot more speed. There's a lot more things that contribute to the tail moving in that left direction than just rotating. And that's the problem I'm dealing with right now. I don't know if this is like, I don't know if I can do this. I got a really crazy idea that If this works, my mind is going to be blown. If it doesn't work, I will that is kind of what I'm expecting here. We essentially are trying to counter the rotation about the propeller. So here's what I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna put speed sensors in a circle. I'm only going to have an output to the tail when all 4 of these speed sensors detect movement. But because they're in a circle, they should only output all 4 at a time when there's rotational movement and not just lateral movement. Okay, see now they're all, oh, why is that one not? We're rotating we're not rotating at that point. We're probably rotating around our center of mass. See, like the center of mass is here, but the center of torque is here. So maybe it's in between. Like I know that there's probably a simple physics answer for where the center of rotation would be if you've got torque and you got mass at a different center point. My intuition tells me it should be in between those 2 points. All right, so now let's see. We start rotating. Good. All right, now they are all clearly on. So now what we need is an AND gate. So if I hook up all of the speed sensors into the AND gate, and then the AND gate into the tail propeller, this tail propeller will activate only when all speed sensors are active. It's not consistent enough. All right, come on. Come on. Yeah, see, sometimes they're just not. But see, like, no, this doesn't work. Because if I'm going forward, oh, this doesn't work. Just conceptually, it's a broken idea. Because if I start going forward, this speed sensor facing backwards is going to be like, we're not going in that direction. So it's not going to always, detect rotation, because as long as we're moving in a certain axis, it doesn't work and it doesn't detect that direction. I can't think of a way to detect when it's rotating away from the direction that you want to be facing. I'm so at a loss here for how this works. The other thing, and this feels wrong, but the other thing is to dial in the power of this to where it exactly matches the power of the torque. But I feel like the power of the torque is variable depending on how much lift I'm giving myself. It should take more torque if I start adding collective pitch, because the blades are just going to have more resistance. Maybe let's not get ahead of ourselves quite yet. I don't know if it's going to be possible for me to actually come up with a system that works realistically. Let's turn that on. Let's turn this on. And who's stronger? Oh. All right, tail slightly stronger. Yep, tail is slightly stronger. That's fine. So now let's, do I do the speed setting, or do I use a logic gate and adjust the output setting? So let's go to 0.7. All right, so now it's on at that level. I turn this on. Okay. And it looks like Propeller is more powerful. I also have a roll effect though with the torque. All right, so let's go to 0.8. I just made it more powerful and it feels weaker. Did I miss input? No, what? Okay, 0.9 should be even more powerful now. Okay, turn it off. Wait, what? Now it's weaker? Oh, wait a minute. What? Why is it back at 0.7? Was I selecting? Oh, I think I selected the tail propeller and not the logic gate. So I put the tail propeller on 0.8 and that reduced the power of the tail propeller, maybe. All right, now let's put this at 0.8. I think I'm doing it right now. There we go. Oh, that looks, we're losing a little bit. Why do I roll though? I'm assuming real helicopters also have to deal with that, but they have so many like systems to do that. Because yeah, it seems like the difference in power between the torque coming from up here and then the pushing coming from down here is like, it's pushing down below the torque and like causing a roll is my assumption. But we were a little bit underpowered, I think. So like 0.85. Oh, that looks good. Okay, I have the roll issue. Like if I don't press anything, that happens. What do I do about that? What do I do about that? See, normally like a helicopter would have collective pitch, not collective pitch, but like a swash plate pitch happening on one side where the actual rotor itself, the rotor blades themselves would be countering this probably and have like a natural setting that makes it not roll to one side. I don't have that ability here. What I do have though is the ability to kind of stay straight, and then I'm just using the built-in yaw gyros right now to yaw myself, because I don't have collective pitch. I don't have swash plate abilities here, so I have to use the gyros to compensate for that. But I'm also using a gyro to compensate for yaw, which I think would normally be given to a combination of tail and rotor torque. If you want to yaw in one direction, you kind of reduce the rotor torque, and you want to yaw in the other direction, you increase the rotor torque, or increase or decrease the tail power. I'm not actually sure like the exact way that it works in helicopters, but I'm pretty sure they're working together in some fashion. Okay, I'm gonna do an experiment here. Maybe I can get rid of the adverse roll by moving this up closer to the source of torque. So this is gonna look terrible for now, but I just want to see what difference this makes. Oh, look at this. Now, if anything... Oh, wait, no, I'm rolling in that direction. Oh! Okay. This works. Oh, now I roll in that direction. And oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Bunch of interesting stuff happening there. Right, now I'm rolling in that direction. Okay, I'm having inconsistent roll. All right, now it's all of a sudden it's back to what it was before, where it's constantly rolling to the left. It's also constantly tilting back, but that's because of the center of mass issue, I'm pretty sure. So let's adjust our center of mass. Let's try to get this thing dialed in. We can dial this thing in. If I add more mass, then I lose lift. See, now I don't have enough lift. This is my lift. I naturally tilt forward now, and I roll to the left. This is just what's happening naturally. Oh. Oh, interesting. I'm doing like a coin, slow motion. But my center of mass and center of lift are pretty close right now. All right, let me move this up one more. Okay, lift off. Okay, so now I moved it up too much. So I think a good way to test it is like as soon as we lift off, trying to go straight up without any control inputs, what happens to us? So I activate both the tail rotor and the propeller, and then I activate my collective pitch, and you can clearly see the thrust is too high from the tail. So let's bring it down by a block. They should be canceling each other out, and lift off. All right, still too high. All right, collective pitch up. It's less. It's going less. I guess maybe just like one block different. No, wait, this is... Yeah, it's still one block higher than where it was. Is that all I needed, was just a single block? Let's find out. I hope that this equals out here. All right, lift. That's pretty equalized. Look at that. I am leaning forward. Oh, wait, now it's doing that? Why is it doing that now? See, look, now I have to keep correcting myself. It started off so fine. Ah, man. All right, well, I mean, it's better than what it was. But, like, look, when I tilt forward, it's so bad. Like, now it feels fine. And then now it feels bad. I guess that's the issue. When you start tilting, then the thrust becomes, like... I don't know. I feel like it should all still stay relative to each other, no matter the orientation of the vehicle. But I do keep tilting forward, so I'm going to reduce the weight in the nose here. Okay, I feel a lot more equally balanced now, but we're still rolling to the left. Now, a gyro stabilizer would fix all of this, except for the fact that I would want to be able to roll. Yeah, see, now as I go forward, like, if I don't press anything, I'm gonna level off and not press anything. And hands off. That's so bad. I don't like that. And look at that. It is like, it doesn't just go in one direction though. It like does a coin kind of adjustment. So it's like the orientation of its pitch and roll also contributes to the force happening. So what do I do about that? Ooh, this is interesting. So I just took off sideways essentially, which kind of makes sense. Essentially, this tail propeller is giving a horizontal force, a unidirectional horizontal force to my right side, but the rotor it's not giving a horizontal force, it's giving a rotational force. So we're trying to counter a rotational force with just a pure horizontal force at the circumference of the object, at the edge of the object. So when they start canceling each other out, we cancel out the rotation, but we're not canceling out the horizontal. So now when you see these things go on at the same time and cancel each other out, as soon as I start lifting off, our rotation is canceled out, but there's nothing countering the horizontal force of the tail rotor. And that is probably why we have this adverse roll. So, okay, helicopters are complicated. Helicopters are very complicated. I can't believe we thought this was a good idea. Except for the dual prop helicopters. Like those, good idea. This is kind of like, now I'm kind of curious how real life helicopters deal with this discrepancy in forces, because as far as I know, the only way to strafe a helicopter is to tilt it sideways. If you're going to counteract the force making you hover in one direction, you'd have to always be tilted a little bit to not go in that direction. Is that happening? Is that what helicopters are doing? Yeah, see? Like if I want to try to not go to the right side, this is the orientation I have to be at just to stay like in place horizontally. This is probably, helicopters probably do have to do something like this, but the forces are probably exaggerated here in Trailmakers. So I don't know. Like, look at this. This is how I have to be to fly level or to like hover in space. I gotta tilt myself like that. If I don't tilt myself like that, then I got this going on. That's probably why it's so hard to just go straight. That's probably why I'm having the roll issue. That I don't know how to counter. But actually, if I use a gyro, all that's going to do is counter the adverse roll, but then that's going to cause me to keep drifting to the right. Is this something that you can do in Trailmakers? Can you have a single prop helicopter with a tail rotor that actually counters the torque and be able to fly like a normal helicopter? Because we're always going to be drifting to the right if I'm flying level. The only way I could think of to negate this force doesn't make any sense as far as the context of a helicopter, but it would be to copy and paste this mirrored to the other side so that they both work in tandem to counter the rotation. But in doing that, they also counter each other's horizontal forces. They'd be going in opposite directions in that case. So that should theoretically cancel out the issue that we're having, but then we are no longer shaped like a helicopter whatsoever. Theoretically, I should be able to half the output of this. So we go from 0.85 to 0.42. All right, so now if I turn both of these on, we should rotate in a circle. All right, I don't think there's... Oh, I don't think that the values in the outputs are linear. So I think this is actually a lot weaker. So we'll have to essentially refine a new... Oh, I'm too heavy now. Okay, all right, we have liftoff. I'm turning on the counter rotation. Oh, look at that. They're actually a little bit too strong. Those changes is just 0.4. I don't know if it's going to be that precise. All right, let's just lift up. Oh, we're lifting up straight. Look at this. Why are we still rolling? So now our center of mass is right here. We may have an issue where this is going to now be too low and we're probably going to roll in the other direction. There's no roll happening right now. Oh, as soon as I go forward though. Whoa. Okay, there's issues. It's the tilting. It's the pitching that just brings in a whole bunch of issues. We're so good when we're level. But like, see, now we don't drift. We don't drift to the side anymore. We can just stay here and stay in place. But now an issue happens. Once we tilt in a direction, you can see there's an adverse roll. And then it's gonna do a coin flip. Okay. All right, what I've learned is that helicopters, I'm not a helicopter engineer, and I don't want to be. This is the path. This is the end of the path that I've set on to make a realistic helicopter. Does this look like a realistic helicopter to you? I have failed, but there's only one final thing to do in the face of failure, and that is to cheat. I'm going to use the gyro, and I feel like it's still going to be terrible. All right, see, look at that. Look at this drift. So, but now, whoa, wow, this is so weird. Okay, I can't even cheat to make this work. I used a gyro stabilizer and it works when I'm horizontal, minus the fact that I drift to the right constantly because of the tail rotor. But as soon as I tilt, then we start actually, the tail rotor doesn't, like, what? I'm just letting it do its thing now. This is how helicopters work, okay? This is how helicopters work. What is the first fully functional single rotor helicopter? And how much manual control did it really have? So, according to a Google search, this was the only helicopter to serve in the war and became the first helicopter in the world to enter series production. Does this tell anything about how it was controlled? Oh, wait a minute. Does this have two counter-rotating rotors? Hold on. Oh, two-seated. Okay, it has 3 blades. It's a 3-bladed main rotor. All right. After experimenting with various configurations to counteract the torque produced by the main rotor, shows a single smaller rotor rotated on the tail. Okay, that's what we did that too. Configuration used by most helicopters today. But what about the issues? Talk about the problems. Okay, this article does not address the problems. Oh, look at. Okay, I did big brain Google here. I said helicopter lateral force from tail. So I'm gonna ignore the AI answer because I don't trust it completely yet. It's probably just honestly stealing from here. The dominant lateral force is the tail rotor thrust. The intent of the tail rotor thrust to provide yaw control, but to do that as a side effect of pushing the helicopter sideways. All right, this is what we're looking for. So then what do we do? What do we do about it? What are we gonna do about it? The main rotor thrust primarily lifts the helicopter up, but as you can see in the diagram, it may be tilted, yes, laterally by the pilot to counter the tail rotor. What? Oh, they tilt the propeller, the rotor itself, the blades? Is that what's going on here? When it said it may be tilted, I thought it was referring to the helicopter, but the actual blades get tilted? Oh, I can't do this in Trailmakers because this is like swash plate style where as it rotates around, it changes whether it's tilting up or down. I didn't know. I knew about all the swash plate stuff. I did not know that the blades themselves tilted from the attachment like point. I thought they were just tilting like this. I didn't know they were tilting like this. What? Yeah. Oh, look at this. This is kind of validating. I gotta be honest. Having suspected that this was happening and then seeing like, oh, we got the torque, we got the tail rotor thrust, and we have drift in this direction. Oh, wait, can I do this? See, I don't know if this is accurate or if this is accurate. These are 2 different diagrams here. This one, the rotor is acting as a single plane. Well, maybe that's not different. Actually, no, it's not. Oh, let me try this. I'm gonna try this. So if I'm drifting to the right, I should tilt my axis to the left. Tilt my rotor to the left. So let's replace these with steering hinges. All right, so now I have this ability. Oh, that's way too fast. 0.01, how about that for speed? So yeah, so now I have this ability to tilt the rotor. Is this going to help? Is this going to solve my problems? Okay. Oh no. This changes everything about, like, sometimes when you attach something like a rotor to be after a steering hinge like this, it actually changes the force of it. So now the rotor torque itself is less because it's kind of being absorbed by these things. So that means this output now has to be readjusted. Let's go to like 0.7. We got to redial this in. Still too much. Whoa, what? This negates everything. I now no longer have torque. Look, my tail rotor's not on. I'm like, I kept lowering the strength. Okay. This is a problem. Well, now we know how to negate the torque. Here, I need to get rid of that gyro stabilizer. We don't need that anymore. Is there really? There's really no torque in this thing anymore? Look at this. That doesn't make any sense. All right, hold on. What if I put a buffer? No! I mean, this makes a life hack if you want a single rotor helicopter. Just put some steering hinges below the rotor and you will not have to deal with the torque. I wanted to have to deal with the torque because I wanted to solve the problem. Now I can't do the rotor tilting thing. Okay, hold on. No. There's another option. There's another option. I'm gonna do it like the diagram now. or at least one of the diagrams, where each individual blade tilts. This doesn't work because now this is going to be down. This blade will be down and it'll stay down even as it rotates around the back and to the side. We need it to be down on one side and up on the other. And the only way to do that is to tilt the entire rotor collectively, not each blade individually. We had a potential solution, but there's a physics glitch that actually prevents us from trying it. All right, I have one more thing to try. Maybe it's just the steering hinge. There's another way to add an angle, and that is with this, but it's not gonna look elegant. It's a lot bulkier. Oh, that's not good. That's not supposed to be the thing that rotates. Yeah, there we go. Now the question is, do I still have torque? Oh, that gets rid of the torque as well. Well, man, that's actually like, that's good to know. Like, that is useful. That's a nice thing to have in other contexts. I didn't realize you could create single rotor helicopters in this game, like without needing to dial in a tail propeller, but you can. You just got to have either a rotating servo or a steering hinge underneath the rotor, and then you're going to be good to go. So I think that unfortunately just like that kind of puts a barrier in our progress of experimentation, and I can't think of any other way to fix the tail rotor issue. We have tail rotor drift that we cannot negate, unfortunately. But I tried really, really hard, and I learned a lot during the process. I know a lot more about helicopter physics and how terrible they actually, how much you just have to just overcome to just get a helicopter to fly straight. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys learned something as well through this. And if you have any ideas on something that may allow me to potentially fix these problems, I don't foresee a fixable solution, or I don't foresee an actual solution to solve this issue and make a realistic helicopter that actually relies on a tail propeller. But maybe there's something I haven't thought of yet. At least a way that works realistically. There's plenty of ways to, you know, essentially override the physics. But if you guys enjoyed this episode, you'll probably enjoy some more that you can find right here on the end screen. Hope this video has earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.